Hello and welcome to Manchester United, the D Unit's view. I tell you what better way to say that the performance? I'm lost for words. That's all I can say really at this point in time. It was another absolute, for want of a better term, absolute shit show at Old Trafford against Liverpool. Mind the language, but it was poor. It was exceptionally poor. I don't know how else to go. So look, we're going to break down where it all went wrong, of what I think went wrong. But before I do that, can you please like the video and subscribe to the channel? And if you're listening along on audio or Spotify, Apple Music, however it is, if you could just rate the show and give us a follow, that would also be really handy in getting this show out to as many people as possible. So where do you start? 3-0. Let's start with the stats. So these are the stats. So there was no goals scored for United. Liverpool got 3, obviously, won 3-0. The shots actually were a lot more even than I thought they were. So it was 8 shots compared to a Liverpool's 11, and both teams had 3 shots on target. And the expected goals, which is really interesting, United were at 1.36 expected goals, and Liverpool were at 1.73 expected goals. So they outscored their XG by quite a bit. United had 52.6% possession, and Liverpool had 47.4%. United completed 407 passes compared to Liverpool's 381. There was 77 final third passes compared to 78 from Liverpool, so again, very even. And there was 31 touches in the opposition box for United, but only 30 for Liverpool. But there were 4 yellow cards for United and only 1 for Liverpool. And look, the stats actually mask what the eye test does. So when you're watching football, sometimes the stats can tell you one thing, and then sometimes they tell you something else. And in this game, if you were watching along from the beginning, it was pretty damn obvious that United weren't going to win. The first 10, 15 minutes of the game, we looked pretty decent, to be fair. And then it all sort of went downhill from there. And let's face it, once Liverpool got the first goal, it never looked like being a United day. I was sad because I did predict that this game could be three goals to 2, but unfortunately in this particular case, it didn't go that way at all. And it's quite disappointing to see the drop-off in terms of the team and how we were set up. It was good to see De Ligt starting. It was good to see Xerxes starting. And look, what better place to start than with the squad selection? Now, obviously, Manuel Ugarte was unable to play in this game because he was signed too late on Friday. And in hindsight, maybe they should have hurried that deal up, because we'll get to Casemiro in a little bit. But this is probably one of the last times we will see him start for United, judging from the performance that we saw. My mate Tom absolutely raves about Casemiro and how bad he has become. And this was just more of the same. But we'll get to that in a second. So the squad selection, the thing that disappointed me the most, and this is where it comes to. Now, there's plenty of people. I love Marcus Rashford, but at the moment, he's just not cutting the mustard. And if you're not cutting the mustard, you need to be dropped. And Anthony's on the bench for a reason, because he's shit. Rashford should probably be on the bench, because at the moment, he's also pretty bad. So again, yeah, it just comes down to, it's what message is it sending to Ahmad? That's all I really want to talk about here. So Ahmad's sitting there. He's scored against Brighton. He's looked our most likely outlet other than Garnacho in the Brighton game. And somehow Rashford survived the first 3 games of the season starting. And he's produced nothing. He hasn't produced an assist. He hasn't got a goal. I know he's getting paid a ridiculous amount of money. But if you're getting paid a ridiculous amount of money and you're still not performing, as far as I'm concerned, you're on the bench. Or you're out of the squad completely. Whatever's easier. Ten Hag shown with Sancho that, if you're not up to scratch, you don't get picked in the squad. And as far as I'm concerned at the moment, Rashford isn't up to scratch. Yeah, and look, the message it's sent to Ahmad is the fact that, we are going to reward mediocrity. And we have been rewarding mediocrity for the last 10, 15 years. If you are getting paid an obscene amount of money and you're starting and you're doing nothing, well, hey, look, you can keep starting. And we'll put Ahmad on the bench. I actually thought that just sent the worst. As soon as I saw the lineup and I saw that Rashford had been picked and that Ahmad was the one that missed out for Garnacho, and I understood Garnacho coming in. I have no problems with Garnacho starting this game at all. But it had to be at the expense of Rashford. You can't sit there and justify that team selection based off that. Now, I don't think Ahmad starting over Rashford would have changed necessarily the end result of the game, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I reckon it certainly would have gone a long way towards, fixing up some of the problems and like just sending a message that we are not going to accept pathetic standards anymore. The bar is here. If you are not at the bar, you are gone. See you later. Thanks for coming. That's essentially what it comes down to at the end of the day. And I just think that yesterday it was a really poor decision. The team selection, yeah, I just wasn't impressed with it. And yeah, let's get into some of the fallout. So Casemiro, I actually don't know where you start trying to describe it. It's a shame that Saudi Arabia cottoned on to the fact that he's past it, because he's what we would call over here a has-been. He's definitely a has-been in terms of like being able to do the job that he was employed to do, and it was a waste of money. You don't pay £70 million for a player that's past 30. And this is the main reason why. Because 2 years on, 2 and a little bit years on, we're sitting there and we're watching this Casemiro and going, somebody put him out of his misery. And thankfully Ten Hag did. It's going to send repercussions through the entire squad. Which is why it just beggars belief that Rashford got away with it and just was kept on. We'll get to him a little bit later on, but I don't want to spend too much time on him. This is mainly about the Casemiro. Look, you should be able to defend. United's defending has been pretty poor for most of Ten Hag's time, to be fair. The first season, he was pretty good. We had the most clean sheets in the first season. Coincided with David De Gea in goal, but somehow David De Gea was identified as the problem. And fair enough, he made a lot of errors in his last season at United. But it's safe to say that Andre Onana has done nothing to justify his price tag. And yeah, and we can't defend. De Ligt came in, I actually thought he was all right, but when Casemiro gives away, I think the stats were like he gave the ball away like 12 times in the one half, and 2 of them were directly relating to Liverpool goals, which is damning. But if you're making a mistake in midfield, you would still think there would be time to counteract the mistake and fix it before it ends up in a Liverpool goal. Sadly, for whatever reason, that actually just hasn't happened. And I for the love of me, I can't figure it out. You would think that we'd be set up in a better shape to deal with this. And it was really interesting that Arne Slot in his post-match interview basically just said, we watched United last season. They pressed with the 7 and 11 or whatever it was. And this year they've changed to pressing with a 9 and a 10 or like a 4-4-2 shape, and the fullbacks come up and Casemiro's left in there. So if you keep your wingers high up the field, which is what Liverpool did, you end up on one-on-one defending. And that's pretty good. If you're attacking one-on-one, it's got chances of getting goals. Liverpool were very lucky. I actually thought the scoreline flattered United. I know we missed some chances and we'll get to them a little bit later on, but realistically, Liverpool can probably consider themselves slightly unlucky they didn't win by more. And that's galling as a United fan. Trying to admit that. But yeah, look, Casemiro, he deserved to be hooked at half-time. Toby Collier, he's still young, but at least he put some energy in the second half. And he didn't actually contribute to the third goal that we got. In fact, Kobbie Mainoo was probably one of his worst performances for United as well. He was literally just bullied off the ball for the third goal, a bit like Casemiro in the first half. And we just got to we got to look after the ball better. And we'll get to ways that we can fix this and try and turn the negativity around. But at the moment, that Casemiro, I think your days are done. And Jamie Carragher said famously last year that he needs to leave football before the football leaves him. And he said it again last night. And he doubled down on it. And it's hard to disagree with Jamie Carragher. And trust me, I can't stand the Scouse person that he is. But look, he's actually got a relevant point. Like, Casemiro's been poor. And yeah, what else can you say about it? So, moving on from the Casemiro debacle to Rashford. Again, I've just given my reason as to why he shouldn't have started the game, and he did nothing to do it. In fact, it was actually galling in the second half that he actually put some good crosses into Xerxes. He created, I think, 2 or 3 chances, and probably Xerxes should have finished at least one of them, if not one of them, at least, something. You know what I'm saying? But Rashford just looked short of confidence. He had a chance when he was one-on-one with Konate to run at him, but his confidence is that far gone, which is why he needs to be out of the team until he somehow fixes it. Maybe he has to go back and play with the under-23s and get some practice scoring goals. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. But I said to my mates last night, it wouldn't have been a bad decision to loan him out to Chelsea or Sancho, because realistically, we're paying his wages and he's delivering nothing based on the wages he's getting at the moment, which just quite frankly isn't what we need at this moment in time. Yeah, it's just disappointing. So he had the chance to go 1-on-1, turned around, went back, and the crowd just visibly groaned, and that's just disappointing. Like he's a United boy, and like he's one of our own, but he's just not performing, and I don't know. It's sad to see. As Gary Neville said, it is sad to see Marcus Rashford struggling this much, and nobody knows what the answer is. Maybe he's just not suited to the way Ten Hag's been trying to play since the start of last season. Maybe he signed the contract and it's put too much pressure into him. We really don't know. But at the moment, he's not performing. And surely against Southampton, Ahmad has to be back in the starting lineup. And Rashford, you'd think, has to be dropped. But if he gets given another chance, he really needs to perform. Yeah, he just needs to kick up the arse, really, and just get on with it. Like, you're getting paid an absolute mini fortune. Start delivering some results. Work on your craft. You be out there at the training ground, practice banging the ball into the onion net every day. Try and get some confidence up because you need to do something. Because at the moment, it's just frankly not good enough. Now, yeah, as I said, the person that is definitely, I can tell you, Ten Hag talked about it post match, saying, "Oh, it's going to take a couple of weeks, maybe months, for Manuel Ugarte to." Be match fit and come into the system. Well, let's hope that he can do it in 2 weeks' time, because if he's not ready, these problems are not going away. And from what we've been told, he will hopefully adjust to some of these issues that we're seeing with the style of play. So, yeah, it's technically the way United lined up yesterday was, as Arnie Slot said, in a 4-4-2, but really it was more like a 4-2-4. And Kobe and Casemiro are pretty much in the midfield, and the other four sort of pressed. As I've talked about before, Rashford doesn't offer barely anything in terms of pressing the opposition. So it's down to Bruno, and when Bruno's charging around, to put in my friend's words, like a chook with his head cut off, chasing after every lost cause, well, you're not left with much opportunity to deal with anything else. And I think that's disappointing because we've just got this chasm, absolute chasm in midfield. And Liverpool exploited it. Liverpool's midfield were on top pretty much the entire game yesterday. And yeah, it wasn't a surprise that they won by the margin that they did. If anything, it could and probably should, as I've said before, have been a lot worse. But yeah, look, hopefully Manuel he's ready to go, because against Southampton, if Ten Hag doesn't get a result, we'll get to the pressure on him in a little bit. I just don't know if there's any way coming back. This could be the beginning of the end. Or it could be the start of the beginning. Who knows? That's the key thing. And that comes back to the style of play. Do the players actually know what they're doing? There's no denying that United have a squad of talented individuals. But they are not playing as a team. I don't even know if any of them know what their actual role in the team is. Because it doesn't look like they're a cohesive unit. There's no style, there's no patterns of play that are easily recognisable. It was interesting the way Carragher said it on Sky Sports after the game yesterday, that, in Liverpool, you know that when Salah gets a ball, he's going to take a one touch and look for a thing, or they're playing into a feet, and you can sort of predict the way they're going to play the ball. But with United, you don't know what they're going to do. It's like Kobe gets the ball, he looks up and he's like, shit, where is everyone going? Like, which way do I give it? Which ball do I give? Yeah, there's just no style at the moment, and it's hard to see. We're 3 years into the Ten Hag reign, and Arnie Slot looks like he has more of a style after 3 games of Liverpool, and I think that's the best comparison to give. This needs to be better. It has to be better. Otherwise, the talk around the manager is not going to go away at all. In fact, if this keeps going, it wouldn't be a surprise that by the next international break, Ten Hag's gone. There's definitely going to be questions to be asked, that is for sure. And again, we look at the no cutting edge. So I'm going to talk a bit on Xerxes now, and how the fact that he should have scored. Yesterday, 100%, he should have scored at least 1 goal. Marcus Rashford put a couple on the plate for him, and he's just mishit it with his foot and with his head. It's just unlucky. It's like one of those times where you just wish you had Marouane Fellaini, because I think Fellaini probably buries 2 goals in that game. But look, it's being a bit harsh. He still looks like he's getting up to match speed. He probably doesn't understand the styles of play, because, like, look, as a fan, I've got no idea. And as a player, it's probably even more baffling to be a part of. Yeah, it's just, yeah. But look, no cutting edge. And again, I talked about the fact that we needed probably to sign a forward, and we didn't sign a forward. And now these are the repercussions. We're missing chances. And when we're conceding goals like we've been conceding, in the start of the season against Brighton and then against Liverpool, where we've just literally been bullied off the ball 3 times and it's end up in goals. Like Onana's positioning as well. What is he doing? Like, sometimes his positioning makes no sense to me at all. Just stand with your angles, know where your goalposts are and stand in the right angles. Like, what are you actually doing? That third goal, it was just so easy for Salah to put it in. There. Well, we'll get to his record now while I'm thinking about it. So Marcus Rashford scored 30-odd goals. Bruno Fernandes scored 20-odd. And this is in the last, I don't know, however many seasons it is, since 2020 or something like that. And then there's, I think, Scott McTominay. And then guess who's the fourth most highest scoring person on there? Mo Salah at number 4. Anthony Martial's number 5, actually, on the same amount. Mo Salah scored 10 goals at Old Trafford. That's just unbelievable. 10 goals in 9 games. Absolutely insane numbers. Great for him. But yeah, it just says all about where we are currently as a football team and the state that where we're still struggling to get out of. There's no quick solution. There's no quick fix. And the last thing is it's demoralising. So what did we see at the end of the game? There was about 20,000 people still in the stands at the end of the game when it's a 75,000 odd full stadium. Literally, the people were leaving in their droves. Ten Hag was jeered when Garnacho was replaced with Ahmad because everyone like me knew that Rashford should have been the one coming off. He'd done nothing and he didn't look likely to do anything, and that was probably the change to make. Look, we're not football managers. I don't profess to be a top-level manager, but some things just seem so obvious to fans. And look, when you're getting spanked at home against Liverpool, it's nothing worse than a fan. Look, it was my birthday yesterday as well, and this game finished at the start of my birthday at 1 a.m. And I tell you, it's been a bad start to the day. Let's put it that way. Best way of describing it. It's just disappointing. And the other demoralising thing is that now Ten Hag's under pressure. He's been back this summer with 5 new signings, and they've tried to clear out a lot of the squad. And look, Ineos have done a great job in regards to that. However, they can't coach the team themselves. And at the moment, it looks like Erik Ten Hag doesn't know actually what he's doing, in terms of getting the best out of this squad of players. It'd be arguable that most of the players have actually regressed under his watch over the last 18 months. He started off well, and it's just gotten worse and worse. Ever since that Carabao Cup win, the football's just got worse and worse. And look, realistically, he was about that far offside. If you're listening along and you're not watching this, I've literally just got my index finger and my thumb just together in the tiniest little space. That's how close he was to losing his job, because if that Coventry goal had not been offside for the smallest margin, he'd be out of a job. He definitely wouldn't be the United manager right now. And that's the pressure he's going to be under. I can't imagine, the international break's come at a great time for United. And we'll get to that. I'll do a bit of news in that during the international break. And hopefully some of our players can hit some form away from the club. But we need a reset, a hard reset. I mean, we've now played 3 games, and the worst case scenario is we've lost 2 of them already. So we're already far off. City already 6 points clear of us. Liverpool already 6 points clear of us. The top 4 is going to be fast in the rear view mirror if we keep playing like this. Something has to change. And I tell you, if he doesn't change the system or the way that we're playing, and he goes to Southampton and we get anything other than a win, the media is going to be after him. 100%, the media is going to be after him. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be pretty. And that's why I said, is this the beginning of the end of Ten Hag? Are we in the end game now? There's only so many games you can play. Only so many times you can go to the well and deliver poor performances, and the players aren't on the same sheet, and people can't see what the style of play is. Eventually, fans are going to get sick of it, and they're going to start calling for him, and Ineos are going to sit there and they try to provide a really clear structure for him, some really stable people above him. But if you aren't up to the job, and at the moment the jury is definitely out, I think you would actually say the pendulum is probably closer to him going than him staying, based on what we've seen at the start of this season. Yes, it looks like there have been some changes, but it's not resulting in points. And this is a results-based business. If you are not delivering results, you are going to be out of a job. and you'll be back on the breadline with Frank Lampard, and we all know he's rubbish. So, look, it's something interesting to note. I'm a big FIFA player. Or what is this called now? EA Sports FC or whatever you want to call it. And I think they've got it right. So, Man United, are a 4-star rated team for the first time in the history of the game. I'm pretty confident it's in the history of the game. I've looked it up. We've been 4.5 stars for Yonks. But this year they've actually dropped us to 4 stars. And I don't blame them. We finished 8th in the league last year. And I looked at the player ratings, and I think some of them are actually a bit too nice. Marcus Rashford, how's he on 81? So it's really interesting. Marcus Rashford is a player that's gone from 81 to 85 to 81 to 85 to 81. So you'd think that regressively that he would actually be an 85 this year, but I'd say he's probably heading for like 75 at the rate we're going. Yeah, and some of the other players in there, pretty lucky to have their rankings as high. Like Casemiro's still over 80. I think he'd probably be under 80 at the rate we're going. His rating is plummeting at a rate of knots. It's actually insane. And the other most disappointing thing as a United fan is when you get Liverpool pundits like Jamie Carragher and all these other people just full of bollocks most of the time, when they're sitting there going, we hope Ten Hag stays in the job. That's depressing, because that means that the rival fans are mocking you. And last night, in the game, in the away end, the Liverpool fans were singing, Ten Hag's at the wheel. Like, mate, might as well bring back Ollie if they start singing that song. What do you do? What do you actually do to fix the mess? Like, you can't buy any more players till January. You can't get rid of any more. You probably should get rid of a few more. But at the moment, there's none to get rid of. So we're just going to have to hope that, that they can turn it around. There's no guarantee that they are going to be able to turn around. But look, at the end of the day, we can only hope that something changes. As fans, that's all we've got at this present point in time. Waking up today in Manchester, anywhere around the world where you are a fan and you know someone that's a Liverpool fan, they are laughing at you. They're laughing at our club. They're laughing at our team. And it's not a good place to be in. I've definitely not had a good birthday because it's been affected by the fact that United have been poor again. The only consolation I have to last night's result is that I had 3 Liverpool players in my fantasy team and they all got me points, except Jota. And that's trying to find linings like that is just depressing. It's just not good enough. Hopefully Ten Hag can turn it around. I'm going to support him either way, but I dare say this could be the beginning of the end. Because at the moment, it doesn't feel really like the beginning of anything other than that. But we can only hope that, moving forward, that something can change. But it's got to change fast. And this crucial international break, it just has to change. 2 weeks before Southampton. The only thing he needs to be worrying about right now is going in there, coaching them, fixing up the tactical shape, and making sure they're primed to absolutely batter Southampton to say, yeah, look, we're behind you. Like, get behind the manager, and hopefully the boys can deliver a result then. Now, a couple of other quirky things on the weekend. Tottenham lost, so that was nice. Haaland scored another hat-trick. I mean, it's just crazy to think that we potentially could have got him, and we didn't get him because he couldn't be bothered with a release clause or whatever it was that he wanted inserted in his contract. He could have been someone else for us. Declan Rice getting sent off for Arsenal, that was one of the most unusual sendings offs I've ever seen in my life. Don't know what was going on there. Look, that's just something, just to provide a little bit of context, it's not always doom and gloom, even though I have been pretty doom and gloom this episode. I just want a response. I was hoping for a response after the Brighton game last week, and we got it for the first 10 minutes of the game, and then it just went missing. And then we went back to what we've been dishing up against Liverpool pretty much for the last 10 years, and that's unsatisfactory performances. So, look, we can only hope that this is the start of the beginning, this international break, and get all the players fit, get them all integrated into the team, and hopefully we can kick on. But it really needs to start at Southampton. And hopefully later in the week, when I'm a little bit more calm about how the result went, I'll be able to provide a bit more of a balanced view. But that's my takeaways right now. Yeah, again, if you like the content, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And I will catch you later in the week with a international break update. Thanks for tuning in. D-in it out.